I'm not sure it'd even make a good comparison. No. I mean, Shelob would be a fairer matchup for Cthulhu. Cthulhu isn't a god. He's more like a priest. I know people take the whole family tree thing seriously, but it was clearly a joke. Even so, he would be more like a demigod, which suits Shelob better than Ungoliant. Dumbass. Ungoliant is such a different level compared to Shelob. It's not just beating up Melkor. I mean, Melkor was kind of weak by that point anyways. Like, not that long before Melkor and Ungoliant fought, Ungoliant was able to stop not one, but 2 Valar. Not just any 2 either, it was Arome and Tulkas. That's 2 powers, the Hunt and the Warrior. Let me reiterate, Ungoliant was able to keep at bay what amounted to the God of the Hunt and the God of War with little more than black silk. I mean, not even Manwë's legendary sight could pierce Ungoliant's unlight webs. Yes, an army of Balrogs did drive Ungoliant off Melkor after she kicked his ass. I don't think they were actually able to hurt her, but they could cut through her unlight webs, which revealed her. I have 2 theories. A, she realized Manwë could see her now, and thus Tulkas and Arome could pursue her again. B, she was a very instinctual being, and the heat of the flames caused by the Balrogs slashing at her webbing frightened her, though clearly they were not able to actually hurt her. I favor A myself. It was pre-drowning of Numenor. I doubt the Valar would refrain from setting foot on Middle-earth at that point, and Ungoliant had just drained the 2 trees. I mean, we can pull it down to certain abilities. Ungoliant can drink light and grows more powerful as she does so. She drank both of the great trees, and those trees gave fruit that became the sun and the moon. She was a literal sun drinker. I mean, as stated, she kicked the shit out of Melkor, though he had expended a lot of his power by that point. Melkor was terrified of her. He wouldn't let his Balrogs pursue her, immediately retreating after she fled. Her ultimate fate was thought to be auto-cannibalism. It was left ambiguous, but she was always special. I prefer the original lore behind her, where it was implied she was an outside-of-context entity, some being of the void that predated Eru's current era creations. Downgrading her to a simple Maya spirit was lame as hell. You should always leave some mystery for fans to argue incessantly about. I think it's a better comparison, at least. Like, Firstborn Generation would probably be the best to scale Ungoliant against. Nyarlathotep, the Darkness and the Nameless Mist, maybe Caxacluth, but adding extended universe material can always make the water murky. Power levels within that bracket are even contentious. Very little is known about the Nameless Mist, and the Darkness is only really known from the facetious family tree. Nyarlathotep was probably more in line with Sauron, and Ungoliant would have wrung Sauron out like a wet tissue. It wouldn't even be close. Sauron was afraid of Shelob. You know, I'll say it, post-Ring, Nyarla curb stomps Sauron. Pre-Ring, I think they're a little more closely matched. I know that, but the ring made Sauron stronger against mortals via his control of the other rings of power through it. The benefits of the One Ring don't seem very helpful against a godling like Nyarla, and simultaneously give Sauron a crippling weakness for Nyarla to exploit. Frankly, I'm pretty sure Ungoliant can drink the other 3. It's tricky. I don't think Nyarla has any dog in this fight, physically. Ungoliant dominates him, and once caught in her unlight, he's pretty much toast. The Nameless Mist has some esoteric qualities, but I think they work strongly against them. It's described commonly as an amorphous white smoke or light. It's also apparently omnipresent, which means you can't escape it, but also means it can't escape Ungoliant. She'd drink them up easy, as they're perpetually backed in a corner by their nature. The Darkness simply hasn't got enough information available to compare them. Anything I say will be pure speculation. That leaves Caxacluth. Let's assume before they split into feminine and masculine forms. They're basically known for driving the Migu from their home planet to ours. Yes, the super fungus lobsters. It is impressive. They're not exactly pushovers. They're super advanced in technology and very difficult to kill. I would compare them to the Balrogs for relative power levels. Yes, I know. It might surprise you to know that I agree. I think the Migu could fight against Ungoliant. It's not a strict power scaling matter. The Migu are smart enough to figure out and exploit Ungoliant's weaknesses. Mind you... They probably get stuck in her unlight webs. No, I'm not sure now. I need more time to think that one over. Simple fire can rend unlight, but the gods are caught and tortured by unlight's touch. Don't know about that. Oh, sorry, I hadn't thought of that particular scenario. No, I'm not so sure about Ungoliant versus Caxacluth now. I had it mid-diff in favor of Ungoliant, but now I'm not so sure. The issue is both are notorious cannibals with insatiable hungers. They may just end up consuming each other endlessly. Azathoth? That's complicated. Look, if the blind idiot god woke up, no chance. I'm not even sure Eru could handle a fully awakened Azathoth. But the thing about Azathoth is everyone loses if he awakens. His own court, mindless thralls, and yet they are in an eternal struggle to keep him asleep, as reality is, allegedly, his dream. So the question would be, if Ungoliant drinks Azathoth, does Azathoth wake up? Yes, then boom, we all lose. No, I think we all still lose, but it's a lot more drawn out and painful as Ungoliant, fueled by a capital G god, eats all known and unknown existence. Humorously, if it's modern Ungoliant, and thus a Maya spirit, she would be a hard counter to Azathoth, as Eru made her initially as a choir singer. I mean, that's the other side of the argument, isn't it? Azathoth is described as the nuclear chaos, the fundamental building blocks of creation, so the question becomes about if it's possible to satiate Ungoliant's hunger. I'm pretty sure the answer is no, so then, can Ungoliant drink Azathoth without drinking herself? I mean, technically both Tolkien and Lovecraft took the unfiction approach to writing. In both universes, our world is canonically the world described. Of course it's relevant. The original Ungoliant is potentially a being of the void, predating Eru's creations, which would imply she was formed of primordial chaos. So if Azathoth is the bedrock of reality, and Ungoliant drank Azathoth while he slept, she would inevitably drink herself. Of course, then the question becomes, is Eru made of the same chaos, or does he originate from elsewhere? Are Maya, the creations of Eru, subject to Azathoth's laws? If they aren't, then modern Ungoliant could possibly drink Azathoth dry and not only walk away from it unbothered, but the Earth itself would be fine. You know, 'cause it's also Eru's creation. I think the issue is how Tolkien and Lovecraft approached the then-current science when writing. Tolkien was very scholarly, and he wrote a universe small but fulfilled, and under the assumption that someone was watching over us. Lovecraft was clinical, and his writing portrays a universe infinitely broader and crueler as a result. They both stared into the void, but Tolkien suffered a near-fatal spider bite as a child and chose to venerate his fear as something wild and unknowable, yet beautiful and terrible, acknowledging a potential purpose in this seeming madness. Lovecraft simply blinked. Oh yeah, no, my final verdict for Ungoliant versus the Outer Gods. Ungoliant. High diff. If you're wondering which of these characters are Tolkien and which ones are Lovecraft, I don't know either, man.